It's safe to say that Sissela is actually just my favorite character to play right now. I absolutely love playing Sissela. Like, I know I've always liked playing Sissela, but recently she's just really grown on me in such a way that other characters kind of can't. She feels so versatile. I feel like I'm always in control of every fight. It's just a great character. And when they announced that she was going to be getting throw, I was a little bit skeptical because I thought it wouldn't be different enough from shuriken, maybe it wouldn't be strong enough. I had my doubts, but after having played with throw Sissela, I'm convinced that this might actually just be way stronger than shuriken ever was to begin with. Now for the actual build, this build might look slightly familiar to you if you're familiar with my previous video on Sissela. In fact, the core 5 items that aren't the weapon are exactly the same, and that's because this build is genuinely amazing on Sissela as the core 5 items. It gets her up to 35% CDR, which is probably the most important stat on her. And with Craft Mastery, that gets you even closer to 40%. You'll generally hover around 37 to 38% CDR, so you don't want to go any higher than 35 just from items. Additionally, it also comes with a decent amount of max HP. You have max HP on the EOD suit, the Shah Jahan, and a little bit of extra on the TAC Ops helmet. You also have some spell amp, which is really important for Sissela, on the shoes and on the Veritas Lux Mea, which is the accessory. Like, all of this together works really well together. But with shuriken, we were running Azure Dagger, which, while yes, it does have a pretty decent amount of flat spell amp, it has a pretty decent amount of extra normal attack damage, it was held back by the fact that it only had 20 attack power. And for those who aren't familiar with the way skills work in Eternal Return, all skills in the game that deal damage generally scale off of attack power. So if you could somehow get a weapon onto Sissela that had an absurd amount of attack power, for example, David's Sling, all of her skills would be doing way more damage, plus her auto attacks would be dealing way more damage, which are further amplified by her passive, which makes like empowered auto attacks that do a ton of damage. Overall, Azure Dagger was actually holding Sissela back this whole time. It was David's Sling that was truly the way to bring her into a potentially broken state. So the weapon of choice for this build will in fact be David's Sling, with its 80 attack power, 30 extra normal attack damage, and as just kind of a cute extra bonus, it's got 150% HP regen. And yes, we don't have a ton of regen in this build, but we do have +1 on the EOD suit, we do have +150% on the Veritas Lux Mea, so overall you do have a slight sub-theme of HP regen, which already benefits her because she has a lot of regen on her passive. Regen is a good stat on Sissela, but we're just not going to focus on it that much, but it's a nice little added bonus. So yeah, when you put everything together, basically we have the same old shuriken build that I had put together originally and loved so much, and just cranked the power up to 11. It's just the same build, but stronger. You don't have caltrops anymore, but you've got smokescreen. You've got way more power on your autos. You have a longer attack range. You just have more damage. This build is potentially broken. I don't know how else to say it. I've put a little bit of testing into it, and it just seems like everything that Shuriken Sissela was doing, but better. Now, as for the routing, it's a little bit slower than the Shuriken build. Azure Dagger was a nice clean 2-zone between Alley and Temple. Unfortunately, David's Sling at a minimum is going to be 3 zones, because you have to go to Chapel at some point too. So on this route, I'm opting to go Alley, School, Chapel, and then Temple. The only issue is that after those 4 zones, you're going to be missing the scrap metal and the battery. The scrap metal is far more important than the battery because you need it to finish both your EOD suit and your Sword of Shah Jahan, which is your main source of max HP. So one potential option is, as you're done with school, you can make your way through Hotel to the teleporter to get to Chapel and potentially pick up a scrap metal there. Alternatively, you could teleport to either Dock or Factory, try and pick up scrap metal there before going to Chapel, or you could just finish your weapon on your first 3 zones and potentially pick up a scrap on the way to Temple, or finish all 4 zones and then pick up a scrap afterwards. But the point is, there's plenty of options you can do it in. You could even have a teammate bring it to you. No matter what, you should get it at some point. It is essential to your build, but it's not something that you have to go extremely out of your way to get, and it's all over the map, so it's not that big a deal anyways. Now, as for the battery you're missing, that's just to finish your TAC Ops helmet. The thing about TAC Ops is that it gives you 15% CDR when it's fully built, And yes, that's the most important stat you're getting off of it. But the thing is that the blue helmet that it builds out of, the ballistic helmet, it already gives you 13%. So you're not stressing over finishing your attack ops. If you're sitting on the blue helmet for basically the entire game, that's not the worst thing in the world. It would be nice to finish it because you'd like that little bit of extra CDR, HP, and attack speed, but hey, if you don't finish it, it's not that big a deal. The skill order for this build is going to be passive over R, over Q, over E, over W. And yeah, that pretty much covers the whole build. Let's check out an example game. Oh, it was a little close, but we got there. Nice. I was concerned since there was 5 people starting here. I was concerned we actually might not even get a Buddhist scripture. But we did end up getting one, so I gotta consider myself pretty lucky. I can get my last cloth pretty much anywhere, so I'm not super worried about that. Well, we lucked out. And we're basically done. We just need a battery somewhere.
이제 좀 쓸 수 있을 것 같아요. 아프게 해서. 잠시만요. 벗어날 수 없을 것이다. 쏘아라. 날아가. 퍼져라. 쏟아. 힘내주세요. 쏟아져라.
누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다.
마음이 무겁지만 그래도 챙길 건 챙겨야죠. 멀리까지 한 번에 갈 수 있어서.
I'm honestly kind of shocked at the strength of our auto attacks. Like, I expected David Sling to be doing a ton of damage, but we're doing like really good damage. Like absurdly good damage.
생존자가 사망했습니다.
고통은
1분 후 항공 보급이 도착합니다.
아직은 영원할 거예요. 잠깐 실례할게요. 바람이 들어주지 않으시는 걸까요?
잠시
집중해요.
Like, he didn't even stand a chance. That was so... Like, what? This damage is insane.
많이 아플 것 같아요.
Like, this is not... I'm not hamming it up for the camera right now. This is fucking nuts.
생존자 숫자가 적어서 다음 금지 구역이 가속됩니다. 마지막 잠깐이면 충분히
주세요. 혼내주세요. 혼내주세요.
생존자가 사망했습니다.
끈적할 거다. 혼내주세요. 혼내주세요.
누군가가 루미아 섬을 지배하고 있습니다.
That was really stressful.
지정되었습니다.
Oh shit. Oh, here we go.
혼내주세요.
Here we go.
삶을 이어가봤자
누군가가 루미아 섬을 지배하고 있습니다.
다들 어디로 간 걸까?
Okay, so Wick is already dead. Oh, shoot.
지켜주세요.
누군가가 생존자의
Nice.
절반을
Oh, damn.
학살했습니다.
Did you potatoes? Don't mind if I do. Technically, I know these are Shukai empowered, but we get two 900s instead of... We get four 900s instead of just two 910s, which is... That is a net positive overall.
이런 수법
Our empowered auto damage is like completely nuts. Like, I don't understand how that's fair at all. Like, it's actually doing so much damage.
윌슨
I don't think Sissela was balanced with throw numbers in mind at all. This is crazy. And like, keep in mind, throw auto range is fucking huge. Excuse my language. Like, I'm so blown away by this that I can't, like, actually can't help myself. Like, look at that. That was almost 700 damage. I know we had hunt bonus, but like, still, like, it's absurd. I have an eye over here. She has wick buff. I don't even know if I'm scared. Like, I guess, yeah, sure, wick buff is going to be annoying, especially in a long fight.
저도
Like, wick is good for Sissela. It's also really, really bad for the Sissela, like, if it's on the person that you're fighting.
가속됩니다.
알면서도
So I guess I am a little bit concerned about that, but she doesn't have that much mastery. We have way more mastery than she does.
생명으로 넘치는 숲이네요. 부러워요. 혼내주세요. 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 윌슨 혼내주세요. 혼내주세요. 윌슨, 제 고통을 완전히 돌려드릴게요. 혼내주세요. 좀 아플 거예요. 윌슨이 필요해요.
전설이
There we go.
탄생하였습니다.
Just a little bit stressful. A little bit. Oh, we're good. Yikes. I know that coffee.
이런 숲에서 살면
Ooh.
좀 덜 아플까요? 고통은 한순간이겠지만 안식은
Our final opponent is right there.
윌슨이 필요해요. 이쪽이요. 윌슨, 배워주실 수 있나요? 윌슨, 이쪽이요.
전설이
There we go.
탄생하였습니다.
Nice.
있을 거예요.
승리의
Wow, that was strong.
받지는 않겠죠. 다행이에요.
I won't lie to you. That was my first game on Throw Sissela. That was actually just my first game on Throw Sissela, and that was like a 9-kill pop-off. This is absurd. This might actually just be straight up stronger than Shuriken. Like, the damage output is so much higher than Shuriken Sissela. The extra attack range is so much better. Like, Smokescreen is not even that bad. Like, sure, I do miss Caltrops, but like, I'm making up for the damage in spades with my auto damage and just like skill damage in general because the attack power is just so much higher. This build might actually be broken. Like, this might actually be broken.